Good morning everyone, welcome back to Hayley's Space. My name's Hayley, I'm a first year medical student, a nurse and a knitter from Melbourne, Australia, and welcome back to the podcast. I do monthly podcasts on this channel in addition to vlogs, sometimes like some sit down chatty videos, like a knit and chat here and there. So if that interests you and you're new here, please feel free to subscribe and like this video as well if you enjoyed it. That helps me out a lot, but I'm really happy to be back talking to you, and I feel like I just filmed a podcast, and I think that's because I did like a couple weeks ago, but the last few weeks have absolutely flown by. I'm in week 6 now of uni, which is crazy. We'll get into the life update stuff in a minute. It's been a bit of a whirlwind the last couple weeks, but we're here, we're ready. If you are new here, I follow a standard podcast format. We've got finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions and plans, and then a little bit of chit chat at the end about other things I've been enjoying, other media, hobbies, all that kind of stuff. So feel free to stick around if that's something you feel like watching. Grab your knitting or your crafting, crochet, cross stitch, whatever it is. Grab a drink. I have a coffee. It is still warm. It's in this Tinkerbell mug that my friend Meg, hi Meg, she's probably watching this, got me for Christmas. So that's what I'm having right now, and I definitely need it. I need to film this video and then head straight to uni because I'm very behind on uni work this week. So let's just get into life chat then. I'm already talking about it, so we might as well. Yeah, we're in week 6 now. It's been full on. I feel like every week it's just like there's more and more to do. And this past week we started our general practice placement days and also our hospital clinical rotation days. So yeah, that started this week, so that's just like another layer of complexity and more stuff to do, which is fine. I had my first GP day this past week and I absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed it. I've never been one who's been interested in general practice. It's just never been something I've been keen on, but seeing a variety of patients, I think it is something that I would like to look into, and hopefully I get a lot of experience with that with my GP days this year. And I'm having a lot of pinch me moments. I have been dreaming of studying medicine forever and ever, and every single day something happens where I sit there and I go, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm here. And I just feel so incredibly grateful that I am here and that I get to study medicine and pursue my life's dream. And I hope this feeling never goes away, because every day I'm in awe and I'm learning something new. I've already learned so much, sometimes in an overwhelming way where it's like, how am I ever gonna remember all of this information? But most of the time it's like a good feeling of like, I can't believe I'm learning these things and I get the privilege to learn this and practice medicine. It's so exciting, and I feel so honored and so grateful to be here. So that's uni at the moment. Otherwise, nothing has really happened. I have started working again, which has been quite eventful and busy. Again, adding another layer of things to do. And I'm still trying to, work out the niggles and figure out how everything's going to fit and my routine and how busy I can make myself be before it gets to be too much and I fall behind. So we're still trying to figure all that out, but I'll get there. Thank you for all the love as well on my first podcast of this year and also the first vlog that I posted for this year. Your comments are so lovely. Whether that was just saying you enjoyed the video and it brought you some sense of peace and relaxation, thank you. I'm so glad that my videos can be that for you. If it was tips and tricks and advice, thank you so much. I take everything that all of you say into account and use it in future projects, so I really appreciate that. And yeah, just thank you for commenting. I love chatting with you guys. I love hearing what you're working on as well, and you guys have like such a diverse range of like careers and lives and experiences. Like there's some of you who are really young, there are some of you who are in your later years of life, and it's been really awesome to chat to you all and hear where you're from and what you're doing, and yeah, it's been really cool. So if you are new here, let me know where you're from, let me know what craft you're up to. Even if you're not new here, let me know what you're working on. I love chatting to you guys. So Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's start with what I'm wearing, the elephant in the room. And if you watched my most recent vlog, you will have seen me finishing this project. But yes, I am wearing my only finished object for this month, and it is my Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit. I cast this on mid-December last year, and only cast it off a couple weeks ago. And yeah, if you want to see me finishing it and blocking it, that's in my most recent vlog. I will link it all down below. Every pattern I talk about will be linked below, and other little bits and bobs as well. They'll all be listed or linked below as well. But yes, this is my Ingrid sweater, Petite Knit. I knit this up using drops lima with a 4mm needle, and I used a 3.25mm for the neckline ribbing and the body ribbing. I am absolutely obsessed with this sweater. I'm so happy with it. I love the fit, I love the texture, I love the shape, I love the look of it, I love the yarn, I love absolutely everything about this sweater, and I'm so glad that I got it done, because hopefully eventually the weather is going to cool down and I'm going to be able to wear my knitwear, and I'm excited to be able to wear this when autumn comes around. So the pattern I absolutely loved, Petite Knit. I'm a huge fan of Petite Knit's patterns themselves. I think they're really well written, easy for beginners to get into. If you're a brand new beginner, you can go on Petite Knit's website or onto Ravelry, pick one of those patterns and know and trust that you can make that, and it will look the way the picture looks if you follow all the instructions, which are very clearly well written. And this one was just the same. The charts are written so clearly, so easy to follow. If you're a beginner, you could pick up the Ingrid sweater. If you've learned how to do increases and decreases, you're set to go with this sweater. And I highly recommend it to anyone, really. The pattern itself is super potato chippy. Like, you just want to get to the next section. You do the crosses. I want to do the eyelet now. Oh, now I'll do the ribbing. Now I'll do the eyelets. And I think that's what made it fly by so fast, was the fact that it's split into these sections, and each section is just as enjoyable as the previous. The drops lima blocked out absolutely beautifully. I'm so happy with how it blocked. I was worried because of the immense amount of texture that's on this sweater, it would like look funny and the ribbing would bounce back and it would cinch in at weird points. But it really does not do that. It gives me the straight fit all the way down that I was looking for. I think I will be working with drops lima again in the future. It's a great affordable option as well. Really cheap, almost always on sale. I know Drops does a lot of sales, and Wool Warehouse aligns with the sales that are happening on the Drops website. So definitely a great option if you're looking for an affordable yarn as well. It's not itchy at all. I am only wearing a singlet, so I can wear this directly against my skin, no problems. I think I mentioned, I don't know if it was in my podcast or the vlog, where I was saying I could feel it in my elbow creases. That's completely gone away with blocking. I cannot feel this on my skin at all. It's like wearing just like a regular pullover, and I'm so happy about that. Again, another reason why I'll probably be using drops lima in the future. The fit, again, absolutely wonderful. I love the length. I followed it completely to pattern pretty much. I didn't add any extra rows anywhere. It does say that you can add extra rows, I think in the ribbing or maybe in the cross section on the body. It does have that suggestion and it gives you instructions for how to do that, but I didn't need to do that. The lengths were perfect, and the sleeves as well I followed. I probably could have knit them a little bit longer because I do find I'm always pulling them down. I like my sleeves to cover my hands, but when I'm out and about walking around, I've worn this to uni a couple times already, which is awesome. It's always the best feeling when you can wear it out where there'll be people. But yeah, wearing it to uni and out and about, like, it's nice to have it off my hands, whereas if I'm at home, I'm often pulling it. It's fine. I don't think it bothers me at all. It's more of a subconscious comforting thing that I constantly pull. Even if a sweater does cover my hands, I will keep doing that anyway. I might take it off actually to show you the sleeves, because I had some issues. Not issues with the pattern, issues with me. I made mistakes, and again, if you've seen the vlog, you will have already known about this. But I did have some trouble with the sleeve decreases, which I think is a common issue. I don't think that this is, a revelation. I think a lot of people have had struggles with this, and honestly, I probably should have gone through Ravelry and looked at people's projects and seen what their suggestions were. A lot of you said on the vlog in the comments that when you knit up your Ingrid, you just omitted the decreases. And honestly, I think if I knit this up again, which I might eventually, I would probably omit the decreases entirely and just knit a straight sleeve. I like that fit. I like the way that looks. That's not a problem for me. So yeah, I might just omit the decreases in the future. But for now, because there's no instructions in the chart how to decrease with the crisscross pattern that you're knitting at the same time. It just says do the decreases at these intervals and integrate them into the chart. So the inside of my sleeves just look a little bit janky. I think that's the first one I did, and I gave up on doing any crisscrosses and just decreased in stockinette and made a giant diamond. Down here, I was like, oh, this is looking fine. Like, they're going to kind of like converge and it'll look really cool. No, that didn't happen. And then the second one, here's the second one. Yeah, I don't even know what happened here. I'm not particularly bothered. I didn't want to go back and fix them or change it because it's on the inside of the sleeve. No one's ever going to see that. And when you're holding it up straight like this, no one can see that. You can't see where the problem with the decreases are. It looks flush, it looks fluid, it looks perfectly fine. You can't even tell that there's a problem at all whatsoever. Like, it still looks fantastic. So yeah, I'm not fussed at all by that. But I did make another mistake with the second sleeve that I knit up. I must have done a decrease wrong somewhere. I must have got confused. I did too many decreases or too few, or like I didn't do enough rows between. I don't really know. But my stitch count was off at one point when I was doing the crisscrosses. I had an odd number of stitches. That was an easy fix. I literally just did one decrease on the next round and just fixed it. I'm not fussy like that. But then what ended up happening is I got to the end of the crisscrosses and I'd realized I'd already done all the decreases that I'd done on the previous sleeve. Whereas on the first sleeve, the decreases went into the ribbing. So there was a bit of a mismatch there. Don't know why, don't know how that happened, but again, it's on the inside of the sleeve. No one's going to notice it, so I didn't go back and change it at all whatsoever. I was like, I've just finished the crisscrosses. I want this sweater done. I'm not going to go back and change it. No one's going to notice. It's not going to change the whole look and fit of the sweater. I did use a 3.25mm needle for the body ribbing. I don't normally go down a needle size for body ribbing on sweaters. I don't like when they cinch in at the bottom. You guys know this. I talk about this all the time. I don't like my sweaters making me look like a mushroom. So I never go down. But I thought, you know what, we'll try it. It's just the ribbing. If I hate it, I'll rip it back and reknit it in a larger needle size, which will be faster anyway. So I just went ahead and knit up with the 3.25 and it looks super neat. Love that. I also realized that my wrong side ribbing is so much neater than my right side. I don't know why I never realized this. This is the wrong side and you can see the knit stitches look so gorgeous. And then this is the right side. And they just look a bit plumpy, a bit not perfect. If you have any tips on how to fix that, let me know. Because clearly my purl stitches are like nice and tight and looking real good. But my knit stitches on the right side are not. So let me know if you have any tips there. But it blocked out beautifully. You can see that it fits the same all the way down. I hope. And it does not make me look like a mushroom. So really happy with that choice. I think that's courtesy of the yarn. I think the yarn blocks out beautifully. So I don't think I can take credit for that. And I definitely think that it's something that I'll have to pick and choose to do in sweaters in the future, because I don't want to do it with a yarn that's not going to block out really nicely and then it will do that mushroom thing. So I'm happy with it in this sweater for now. Now, when I have worn it to uni, one of the days I wore like a t-shirt underneath it, and then another day I wore like a singlet top, and both days were quite windy and the eyelets let in a lot of wind and a lot of cold. So if I am to wear this in the winter, I'll definitely need to layer it up. It gets windy here in the city, so I definitely think I'll need to be wearing like long sleeves underneath this in the winter so I don't get cold. But it is super warm and super cozy. Like, just wearing it now inside is wonderful. I'm super, super proud of this one. And I was happy to be able to show you guys the process of me finishing it. I did want to film a whole vlog from start to finish of this one, a little project vlog, but that didn't end up happening just because I was knitting on it whilst on holiday. So I was glad that I could film some part of it to show you. Highly recommend this pattern to anybody, particularly this yarn as well. If you've never worked with drops lima, definitely go ahead and try it. It's affordable, it's not itchy, it's fantastic, it's beautiful. So yes, that is my Ingrid sweater and my only finished object for this month. I need to put my camera on charge. I don't want you dying on me. I think the lighting is a bit janky now, but anyway. Okay, let's move on to works in progress. So last time I spoke to you, I think I had a couple to show you, and one of them is now half finished, and those are my togetherness socks. These are by Little Home Designs. Again, I have this pattern, but this designer I don't think has an Instagram, or maybe they rebranded and they go by a different name now, but I will link the pattern on Ravelry down below for you. And it is this cable sock pattern. I hope you can see that, cover my face. Beautiful, beautiful cable sock. And I finished the first one. So I was almost done with this sock when I spoke to you last time. And I literally just had to finish the toe. So I did a wedge toe as usual. It looks a bit pointy. I don't know why. I think I decreased more than I normally do, and that just made it a little bit pointy. But I love it. I absolutely love this sock. So I used a 2.5mm needle with Drops Fabel. Don't remember the colour. It'll be somewhere here on the screen. But I just thought this yarn was perfect. This was my Christmas Eve cast on, by the way, was this sock. And I knew I wanted to use this particular colour of yarn with a cable sock. The pattern's really easy to follow, the chart's really easy, and the cables are great because you work them without a cable needle and you don't have to move your stitches around or anything. They're just perfect. Slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, which is my favourite heel construction. I think this is a bit bigger than what I would normally knit my socks because it's a bit lumpy on my sock blocker. I think that's maybe why it's so pointy as well, because there's extra fabric here at the end. But that's okay, I don't really mind. I have not cast on the next sock. I have not blocked this yet. It's literally just been sitting on the sock blockers since I finished it, which was literally the day that I filmed my last podcast. So it's just chilling now. That's my togetherness socks. Hopefully they can be a finished object next month. Cross your fingers for me. Okay, next work in progress is another pair of socks. Let me try and untangle them from everything. Got a lot of stuff here to show you, and it's all kind of connected. The pattern is the February Colourwork Cuff Club pattern by Summerly Knits. Colourwork Cuff Club, talk about it every time. It's a monthly pattern release. Summerly Knits started it last year. You pay once-off payment. You get the base sock pattern, and then each month you get a new colourwork chart. And the February one I saw on my last podcast when I was talking about like my plans, and really, really was excited by it and excited to cast it on with some particular yarn. I actually changed my mind about the contrast colour I wanted to use. So I've ended up still using the Chaska. I cannot remember all the details, so I will link this yarn below because it is beautiful, but it'll also be listed here somewhere, the colourway, and I know it's the Sky Collection 4-ply sock yarn, but I don't remember the colourway. But it's this beautiful pink, mix of pinks, whites, cream, different shades of pink. It's absolutely stunning. I got this in Colac when I went there with my family for my birthday last year, and so I wanted to use that as the main colour. And then I've got Drops Fabel here. That's what I decided to use as my contrast. And this is colour 113. It's like this deep red sort of colour. I used this for my November Colourwork Cuff Club socks, which ended up being my Christmas socks last year. Now, I am using a 2.5mm needle. I used the Drops Fabel for the cuff, which looks super cute, and I'm going to use that for the hearts as well, and then the chaska as the main colour. When I first casted this on and started knitting it up according to the chart, I made a mistake. So I am knitting these up doing magic loop, and that means you knit like half the sock at a time. And what I did was I knit one half of one row of the colourwork, and then on the other half of the sock I accidentally skipped to the next row, thinking that I was at the beginning of round. So one side of my sock looked a bit wonky. So I ripped that back and started again, and I also wasn't happy with how the hearts looked. I wanted them to be a little bit longer, because when they stretch out on my foot they were looking really stumpy, but when I stretch them out now you can kind of see they still look like hearts. So I ripped them back, I started again, I elongated the hearts, was all going dandy and fine. I wasn't particularly enjoying it, it was kind of a bit meh, and then I did the same thing. So you can see these hearts, they have a tip to them at the end, they look nice and pointy. My camera really doesn't want to focus today. Hopefully you can see that. That one's kind of pointy, and then we turn them around and these ones are all stubby at the end. That is because I made the exact same mistake that I made the first time, and I've already started my next set of hearts. I don't know if you can see. And so I don't think I'm going to keep knitting these up, at least not right now, which is a shame. I think they would be really cute. I think they'd be really sweet, but I A, am not enjoying them, and B, don't actually think I would wear them. And I think this yarn would probably be better off used for something else, and I think maybe a baby knit or something would look really cute in this chaska, you know, for a little baby girl. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to keep knitting these up, which is a shame. It's a beautiful, beautiful chart too. I love the love hearts, super cute. But yeah, maybe just not for me, and I think I got overexcited, and then I got cast on itis when I finished this sweater, and I think I'm gonna rip them back. I also have a lot of unfinished socks. I talked about that in my last podcast. Let me know if you want to see like a finishing all my socks vlog. I might do that this month. I might just spend like a couple weeks just smashing out all my socks, or a couple days. I think that would be a really fun video to see. So yeah, I think I'm gonna rip these back. But they were fun while they lasted. I really do like the combination of these two yarns together. Maybe I'll use them in something else, I'm not really sure, but yeah, just not for me. Okay, the next project actually is in a bag, so it's not tangled up with everything else and not falling right now. That is a pair of selbu mittens. I have never knit any selbu mittens. If you've not heard of them, I don't know if people kind of use different patterns and call them by the same name, or if it's all the same pattern, but they're like a traditional style of Norwegian mittens. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Anyone from Norway or anywhere in Scandinavia, correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. I don't want to be incorrect, but yeah, I think they're a traditional style of Norwegian mitten. And I used the selbu mittens pattern by Stefanie canich, and knit up a selbu mitten. Now the contrast is low. So you really can't see the definition very well. It looks different in real life. I promise you that. You can see a little bit more of the contrast in real life, but I also wanted it to be low contrast. Here we are. This is the colorway Raffia, which is this like beigey brown. This is a free pattern, sort of colorway, and I used this for my bendigo woolen sweater as one of the contrast colors, and have a ton of it left. And then the other one I'm using is this light icy blue color. I love that I'm still wearing this. This icy blue. Ah, if it will focus. There we go. Which is almost tweedy. It's got some flecks of some other colors in there, like some darker blues. And this is Patons Herdwick 8 ply. And this is the color 9036. Don't know if they still make this yarn. It's 100% wool, so is this one. And yeah, here's my mitten. I've made one. I have not made the second yet. So I knit this one up using a 3.5mm needle for the main part of the mitten, and then 3.25 for the ribbing. It's just a 2x2 rib on the bottom. And it was pretty easy to follow. Again, a free pattern, so not a lot of information there to work with. But the chart is really clear and easy to follow, and the pattern is relatively easy to follow as well, until I got to the thumb. And the pattern says, knit those stitches onto some scrap yarn, then move those stitches back onto the left needle and knit them again according to the chart. Now that I know how to do that, it sounds easy. It sounds exactly like what you do, but my brain could not comprehend it at all whatsoever. And I could not figure it out. I went through Ravelry, and some people just ended up casting on extra stitches and putting them on hold like you normally would do for like a mitten or a sock. But I wanted to do it the way that the pattern said to do it. So I trawled Ravelry, and I found someone had posted a YouTube tutorial on how to do this exact method. So I just followed that, and I will link that video tutorial down below, because if you want to knit up these mittens, you might also get stuck like me. I haven't woven in any of the ends yet. I will say that. I have not blocked this. So the finishing is still unfinished. So you can see I've still got some holes in my thumb. The thumb looks super cute though. And I'll try and show the other side of the thumb with the diamonds. I did make a mistake as well. I don't know if you can see in the middle there, one of these things is not like the other. And that's because I did one row wrong. That's easily fixed with duplicate stitch. So I'm just going to go through before I block it and just duplicate stitch over the top and correct that. And it will look a lot more uniform and clear then, hopefully. I did enjoy knitting this up. I did this on magic loop, which was fine. It made my edges a little bit lumpy and tight. I'm hoping that will change with blocking. But I love this like seam sort of design up here. Is gorgeous. I did shorten it as well. There's supposed to be a couple extra rows before the decreases, so it's supposed to be about that long. And the thumb as well is supposed to have a different design on the top of the thumb, but I ended up just repeating the diamond a third time because I have short little thumbs. So I shortened it by just cutting off some of the pattern, and yeah, fits like a glove. I really want to knit some of these up as gift knits this year. I think this pattern would be so effective in like a white and red yarn, like I did for one of the hot water bottles I made last year for Christmas. I think that would look fantastic. And I have a lot of DK yarn in my stash to use up, and also I can hold some fingering weight yarn double if I need to use it up. So I think this is perfectly versatile for gift knits and nice and easy. The ribbing in the 3.25mm needle, I don't know if it was just this yarn or if it is just how tight it is, but I found it was a little bit hard on my hands, and it took a really long time. Yeah, like a really long time. So that was not enjoyable. I did cast on the second one, and again the ribbing took forever, but I have started the colour work on this one now. Ooh, so we are on the larger needle size, the 3.5. Yeah, I'm just slowly working away. I could probably get this glove done in a day if I had the time to, but at the moment I don't have those days where it's like, oh, I've got a day off this weekend, I can just knit the whole day. I just don't have the time right now, but that's okay. I'll get it done eventually, and hopefully these will be done for winter. I'd love to wear them during the winter, like to and from uni. I'd love to be able to wear these in the snow eventually at some point. Like I can imagine going away on holiday, like back to Colorado or somewhere like that, and go skiing and have these mittens. I think they'd look really cute in the snow. But yeah, that's those. All right, the next one is a super exciting cast on, and I haven't done too much on it, but it is my Weasley sweater. So if you missed the last podcast, I'll just quickly clue you in. I am starting a series on this channel this year where I knit a knitted item from each Harry Potter movie or book. And starting with the first film, and we are knitting up a Weasley sweater. I'll put a picture here so you can see what I mean. Mine is going to have a H on it for Hayley. I've started. Here we are. This is the back yoke. And that is all I've done. Still got a little bit of a ways to go. This part needs to get to over 20 centimeters. And I am using Rowan felted tweed. Colorway will be listed up here somewhere. And it's this gorgeous, gorgeous navy blue with all these tweedy flecks in it, which just is stunning and absolutely perfect for this exact sweater. Now, I did pick a pattern. I went back and forth. I went through Ravelry. I really tried to find a stockinette sweater pattern that I liked, that fit the style that I was looking for and also had the fit that I wanted. And I just couldn't find something perfect. I really was not blown away by any of the stockinette sweater patterns that I saw online. And so I ended up landing on the porcelain sweater pattern by Annette. I have knit up the porcelain sweater before. It is a all over colourwork sweater, which is absolutely stunning. It is a drop shoulder sweater with nice long sleeves, very oversized fit. Yeah, I've decided to knit it again, just obviously omitting the colourwork and just doing it in one colour stockinette. And I can hear what you're saying, but Hayley, there's so many stockinette sweaters out there. Why didn't you pick one of those? They didn't fit my specifications for this project. I did not find one anywhere that fit the specs that I wanted for this project. Firstly, I already own the porcelain sweater pattern, so I didn't have to pay money for another pattern. Also, my gauge matched perfectly. I've got gauge swatch up there. I don't know if you can see it right there. And the porcelain sweater pattern perfectly matched the gauge of the swatch that I knit up that I liked the fabric of. So it fit the gauge perfectly. And I struggled to find a stockinette sweater pattern that fit the gauge that I had. Thirdly, I've knit this one up before, so I like the fit. I know how it fits on my body. I know how it looks. I love the size of the drop shoulder. I like how dropped it is. I like the length. I like the way the sleeves are knit and the length of those and the fact that they're not too cinched or tight. It's just my perfect stockinette sweater pattern. And I thought, why don't we see how it looks and how it fits without the colourwork? So that's what we're going to do. And I hope that's okay with everybody. I'm excited to share the whole process with you. Again, I'm still just on the back yoke. I've still got quite a ways to go, but I'm loving the fabric so far. It is quite a loose, airy fabric, but the yarn itself is really warm and it blooms beautifully. And I want it to be a sweater that I can wear in the wintertime underneath a coat. And then when I get inside a building and I take my coat off, I don't overheat in my knitted sweater, because I find with some of my chunkier knitted garments, I can't wear them in the winter too often or too much, because I'll go inside a building and the heaters will be on and I will literally be dripping in sweat. But then you go outside and you're like, oh, this is perfect because I'm in my knitwear. So I think this one is definitely going to help me find that sort of balance. And there is a new Harry Potter exhibition coming to Melbourne, I think in April, that I really would love to wear this sweater to. I think that would be the perfect place to wear this sweater and get some really cool pictures in this sweater. So that's the plan, is to have it done by April. I am filming a project vlog for this, start to finish. So you guys will see all the in-depth details from start to finish when this is done. I'm really excited. I haven't picked a yarn yet for the duplicate stitch letter that I'm going to do at the end, but that's a later problem. We'll get to that once the sweater is actually done. So when I finished my Ingrid sweater, I got cast-on-itis. I kind of spoke about this, I think, in my vlog, where I was looking at, just before I finished this, I was looking at my stash and thinking I should probably have some plans ready to go so that when I finish this, I don't get into a slump and I don't get overwhelmed by my stash and all the things that I want to knit. That did not happen. And so I did get in a little bit of a slump, which often leads me to cast on a bunch of random things that I don't actually end up enjoying. Exhibit A. So then during that cast on fever sort of situation, I cast on a balaclava. here it is. Here's all we have. So this is the BB balaclava pattern by Bonbon Knit, and is a all over seed stitch balaclava pattern. And I'm knitting mine on a 4.5mm needle, I believe, using Annette Erikson Scandi wool. So this is the yarn that I used for my boyfriend's Northland sweater last year, and I have 2 more balls of it left. So this is 1 ball, or maybe it was like 3/4 of a ball, I'm not sure. This was like a little leftover ball. But yeah, I've got 2 more balls left to knit this up. And yeah, this is a free pattern. So you cast on your stitches here, and then you knit the panel, and then you pick up stitches along the sides as well, and then you just knit back and forth to create the sides. So that's where I'm up to now, is knitting up the bulk of the balaclava. Let me kind of show you what it's going to look like. It looks kind of crazy right now. I showed my dad and he was like, what the hell is that on your head? Here we are. Based on the, it looks like a little like maid's, you know, neckerchief headband thing. I don't know what that's called. Anyway, based on the projects on Ravelry, it is quite a snug fit. It's quite a tight fit, and I definitely feel that it's definitely snug to my head, and I get the vision. I know what it's meant to be, like it's supposed to fit like that, but I do not want it to make me look like an egg. So I think my plan is to knit the sides a little bit longer than the pattern suggests, and then I might cast on some extra stitches than it suggests under the chin, because I do want it to be like snug and fit, but I don't want it to be like cutting me off, you know what I mean? So that's the plan with that. I am enjoying it. It is a little bit monotonous at the moment, just going back and forth, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. But it's one of those knits where, like, if I'm on the train or on the tram, I'm on a plane, or, you know, I'm, you know, watching Bake Off or something, and I just want something to just and just be brain dead for a little while. This is the perfect choice at the moment. So yes, then another cast on fever cast on, which is actually a crochet project. I haven't crocheted in a while, and this is identical to what I crocheted last year, basically. All I crocheted last year really were coasters and a pot plant cozy. And this is using the exact same construction. So I am crocheting up a like a whip basket kind of thing using this is Lion brand Made with Love yarn, which is like their collaboration with Tom Daley, who's a British Olympic diver, I think. And this is called the cottony one. Colorway is lychee. Wow. Mine like a steel trap. I have no idea how I remembered all of that. But yes, I did talk about this yarn, I think, in my previous podcast for a different project. It's for a tea towel. Maybe I didn't talk about it at all. Maybe I'm lying to myself and I just pretended that I spoke about it. But I have decided to stop that project because I wasn't loving it and do a crochet one instead. And as I said, I'm making up a basket. I do have a pattern for this, but like I'm not using it really. I just cast on the same thing that I cast on last year. So using magic loop, you cast on a certain number of stitches, you increase at even increments throughout the whole thing, and then you go crochet in the back loop and then you crochet up the sides. The only difference with this one compared to the ones I did last year was that I'm doing single crochet US terms, or I think double crochet in UK terms, rather than double crochet US, which I think might be triple. I have no idea. Don't question me on it. I do have a pattern that is basically identical, which I will link below. It's by, it's in a Maker catalogue. Maker is a yarn store here in Australia. There's one near me. I'm still yet to go visit, but I am living super close to it now. But yeah, it's basically the same construction. I am using a, what size is this? Yeah, a 5mm hook for this. And yeah, it's going to be like my sock knit graveyard, where I'm going to put all my half finished socks, which will hopefully be finished soon. But yeah, that's that one. It's a crochet project. Bit of variety for you today. I think that's all my whips. That's everything that I'm working on at the moment, like actively. It is definitely going to be a big one today. Thank you for sticking around, and if you've got this far. I'm going to talk about plans. No acquisitions this month. I am really trying to work through my stash. I'm also a broke uni student, so we are not spending egregious amounts of money on yarn at the moment. But plans. So I did mention I'm going to be knitting up a Dagmar zipper sweater, and I'm going to be doing that as a buddy knit with my friends Mickey and Heidi, who both live in Canberra, so they're super far away from me, which is fine. But yeah, we're going to be knitting up, all of us will be knitting up the Dagmar zipper sweater. Heidi is currently overseas. She's in North America at the moment, and she's just bought her yarn that she's going to bring back with her, which is super exciting. And I think Mickey's just put a yarn order in for the yarn that she's going to use. So I think we might be doing a Zoom call next week to have a little cast on party, which will be awesome. I'm so excited to do a buddy knit with them again. I really, really enjoy hanging out with those ladies and knitting together and sharing our knitting together. So that's super exciting. If you missed it, I was gifted this yarn by Rosarios 4 to knit up the Dagmar zipper. This is their Terra yarn in the colour number 8. It's made in Portugal. It's 100% wool. It's this gorgeous grey, which I think will be fantastic with the cables of the Dagmar. So thank you again to Rosarios for gifting this to me for this project. And I will be doing a project vlog for this project. So hopefully, if we cast on next week, I'll be starting that vlog as well. I haven't knit a gauge swatch yet, but I think I might do that this weekend when I'm away. So that's that plan. Then also in my cast on fever haze, while I was looking through my stash, I was looking at things that I could cast on, and I was looking at this Scandi Soft by Annette Erikson. I used this yarn to make the Crofting in Scotland beanie by Bunny Muff last year. One for my dad, one for my brother in like different colours. And I was wondering what I could do with it. And so I've decided to use this colour. This is denim, which is like this navy blue. Gorgeous. If it's going to focus, it probably won't. And I've decided I'm going to knit up the blouse number 1 light by My Favourite Things knitwear, which is like a airy sort of blouse kind of vibe, which was what I was hoping to use this yarn for. I did knit up a swatch with this yarn. It's on the end there. I know that's not very helpful. With a 5mm needle, I believe. And while I liked the fabric, it didn't get me the gauge of the blouse number 1 pattern. So I've decided I'm going to use a 6mm needle, I believe, to knit that up. I'm just going to cast it on eventually and start working on it and see how the fabric looks and feels, and if I do manage to get gauge. And if it's right, I'll keep going. If it's not, I might make some changes, or we'll just, you know, change that idea to something else. I don't know, use the yarn for something else. But yeah, that's my other plan. Now, I want to start a new section of the podcast because I haven't got enough already. No, I want to start a new section of going through my Ravelry favorites. I know Laura Penrose does a Instagram saves segment in her podcast, which I really enjoy, but I don't save a lot of knitted patterns to my Instagram. I usually, when I'm watching podcasts or vlogs and see a pattern that I like, I will save it in my Ravelry favorites. If you want to follow me on Ravelry, it's always linked below. It's always there, almost always the top line, I think. So definitely go check that out. But yeah, I decided that I am going to start sharing my recent Ravelry saves at the end of this podcast. I'm going to get them up on my phone. I've got Ravelry here, and I'm just going to talk to them. I'll put a picture up somewhere of what they actually look like. The first one is super, super cute, and I saw in a Kobo Toast video, she knit this up. She didn't follow this particular pattern, but she kind of just guessed how to make it. And it's called Ebo the polar bear, and this is by Heidi Bang. and it is the cutest little bear stuffy I have ever seen. They use a bulky weight yarn and a 3mm needle. Geez, that does not seem right. That's really interesting. But yeah, it is a paid for pattern, hence why I have not knitted it up yet. I would have cast this on immediately, but I think it is super, super cute. And I think that you could probably use a bigger size yarn with a bigger size needle to make a bigger bear. And I would love to knit one up. Would be cute for like a kid's knit as well, like a gift. Next thing I've recently saved is the sweater number 8 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This is a fingering weight pattern using a 4mm needle, and it's a all over ribbed sweater. What's interesting about this one is that the body is oversized and the sleeves are tight with this high neck, and I just think it looks super, super classy, super elegant and elevated, and I'd love to knit this up. I don't know what yarn I would use. I think I'd probably use like a brown or a grey as well, or maybe even a black would look really good in this. And I just think the finishing is so beautiful, like the way that the side and the shoulder seam kind of fades out into the side of the body. I think that looks fantastic. So yeah, recently saved that. I can't remember who was talking about it. It might have been Kobo Toast as well. She might have been talking about it. Another one I've recently saved, these are the Autumn Savory socks. These are by, I'm so sorry if I mispronounce this, auve limpide or limpide, I'm not sure, but it is this all over, I think it's dip stitch sock pattern, and I just think they're so sweet and so, so cute. I think it might be a short row heel, yeah, which I have never used before and would like to try out eventually. And then the last thing that I saved very recently are the key mittens by Petite Knit. I think the key sweater is, I don't know if it's new, I think they came out at the end of last year maybe, but it is a like striped sort of colourwork, I'll put a picture here, pair of mittens, which has the same design as the sweater, but I just think they would look super, super cute, and I think they'd be a great gift knit as well. I like that they have like a wedge shape to the top of them. They're not super pointy, because that's something that's kind of turned me off a lot of mitten patterns, is the pointy tip. So I think I'd like to do a wedge finish on those mittens. It's using a worsted weight yarn and a 4mm needle, and I have that kind of yarn. Like a grey and white would look really good, or like a green and white would look cute too. So yeah, I've saved that recently. Those are my recent Ravelry saves. Let me know what you've saved recently, whether that be like Instagram, Ravelry, knitted pattern related, and let me know if you want to keep hearing about my recent favorites, because I like sharing, I like talking, don't know if you can tell, and I'd love to continue sharing it with you guys. Alright, this next part is where I'm going to talk about my other hobbies, reading, TV, some Formula 1. We're going to start by talking about books. I've got my notes here, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm trying to make sure I get all the details and give authors' names and things like that. Firstly, thank you to everyone who went over to my Goodreads and added me on Goodreads, whether that's like a follow or as a friend, totally cool. It's just awesome to have you over there. I love keeping up with everyone's reading. I love seeing what people are reading and getting recommendations, and just being able to share my reading as well with people who are interested to hear it. I love when I click on a book and I can see which of my friends have, you know, marked it as want to read or have read it before, and I get to go look at their reviews and stuff like that. So if you are on Goodreads, that's always linked down below as well, so you can go and check that out and we can be friends over there. We can be little book buddies. But yeah, thank you if you've joined me over there already. Hopefully you guys are enjoying seeing my random sporadic reading habits and just random books that I save off of Instagram or TikTok. Yeah, I hope you enjoy following along. Alright, since my last podcast, I've only read 2 books. Both of them were romance. So the first one I read is Leave Me Behind by K.M. Moronova. And this is a dark romance, emphasis on the dark. There's quite a few trigger warnings and disclaimers at the start of this book, so don't go into it expecting a fluffy romance. Definitely go read those before you actually read the book. I don't want to send you in blind and you end up reading something that, you know, you actually find quite horrific. So emphasis on the dark aspect of that. But basically our two main characters are a part of this elite underground dark forces squad. And, you know, for reasons, they hate each other, obviously. And chaos ensues and things happen. And it was very entertaining. I enjoyed it. I was shocked. There were twists and turns, things that I did not expect. You know, you read the disclaimers and the warnings on these books and you go, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. And then when it actually happens, you're like, and that's how I felt for a lot of parts of this book. And when a book makes me like feel things, that's how I know it's a good book. So yeah, I really did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. Twist at the ending, well, not really like a twist, just something that I didn't expect to happen happened. And honestly, reflecting on it, I was definitely blindsided at first, being like, why the hell did that happen? And if you've read it before, you might know what I'm talking about. But when I reflected on it, it felt very authentic to the story and very authentic to the characters and the world that she'd created. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah, really entertained. My friend Olivia, hi Liv, if you're watching, she recommended it to me, and she really enjoyed it. So that's why I read it. I'm looking at reading Lights Out next. I cannot remember the author. Let me get it up. That is another, I think, dark romance, stalker vibes, but quite popular on like TikTok and everything. Nevessa Allen is the author, and yeah, quite popular. I think a sequel has just come out or will be coming out. So yeah, I'm planning on reading that eventually, hopefully this month. We shall see. But yeah, Leave Me Behind, first book I read this month. Then I also read Meet Me in the Penalty Box. This is by Callie Mell. This is a hockey-based romance. She's the team photographer. He's the, you know, up-and-coming rookie player on the team. You can guess where it's going. It is a contemporary romance, sport romance. And I'll be honest, I didn't really love this one. Wasn't obsessed. I gave it 2 stars. It is a book that I downloaded for free on a Stuff Your Kindle day a couple years ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago. So it was just sitting in my Kindle library and I thought, why not? I'll give it a go. It was just the writing for me that I couldn't get around. I prefer to read books where it's very much like you're in the character's head, as opposed to being like, Susan went here and said this thing, and Steve went there and spoke to this person and did this thing. And that's great, but I very much prefer to be in the character's head as things are happening. So I think that's why I like Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros a lot, because you're literally in the characters' heads the whole time and they are telling you what's going on, as opposed to having, I guess, an omniscient narrator who is telling you what's happening to the other people. So yes, anyway, that is probably why I didn't like it so much, because it just wasn't in a writing style that I particularly enjoy or am used to, which is fine. Totally fine. I am still reading The Healing Season of Pottery. That is by, I have it here, that is by Yeon Soman. Still working through that. I am just over halfway through now. I am still enjoying it. I've started a new book. It's a book that you guys are gonna know. I've started reading Game of Thrones. I have the entire series in paperbacks. I thrifted them, I guess, from multiple different op shops online during the pandemic, and then also just after the pandemic finished. I was doing a lot of book buying around that time. So they're all like different versions of the books throughout the series. So one day, hopefully, when I actually finish the series, maybe I'll treat myself and invest in a really nice collection of all of the books. But for now, we're just gonna live with my thrifted version. So I have the movie cover of the first one. I have seen the whole show, absolutely love it, and I've just started it. I am 2 chapters in and I'm enjoying it. I think the show definitely helps with remembering who all the characters are. It is very character heavy, it's very plot heavy. There's a lot of people, places and things that you have to remember, and I think having seen the show definitely gives me some context and gives me something to lean on when I go, wait, who is that? I can be like, okay, in this show this happens to this person and they look like this. Oh, okay, that's who that is. I remember now. So That hasn't happened like a lot yet. As I said, I'm only 2 chapters in, but I think it's going to help me in that way. My dad has also started reading this. He's listening to the audiobook on Audible at the moment, and so we're kind of reading it at the same time. He'll probably finish before me. Really enjoying it so far. Not much else to say about that. I will let you know how I go with reading it. It's a chunky one. It's a real chunky one. Don't know how long it's going to take me, but that's that one. If you have read Game of Thrones before, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you finished the whole series or how far you got, or if you're reading it right now, let me know so we can read it together. Yeah, give me a heads up in the comments. As for TV, I recently binged all 3 seasons of Bridgerton again. If you watched the vlog, you will have seen me doing that. I love Bridgerton. What inspired me was on Valentine's Day, there was a Bridgerton press event for the new season that will be coming out. I don't know when. They're currently filming it, I think, or maybe they finished filming it. I'm not sure. I think it'll probably come out next year. So yeah, that inspired me to watch those 3 seasons. And then I also have just finished the most recent season of the Great British Bake Off. I absolutely love that show. Cozy TV. It is mind-numbing TV for me. I absolutely love it. And it also reminds me that I love baking. It's a shame I don't have an oven in this apartment. I'd love to one day bake a lot, as often as I can. I'd love to learn how to make really good gluten-free bread, but it's just not going to happen, which is fine at the moment. One day. But yeah, absolutely love Bake Off. Okay, last thing that I'm going to talk about is Formula One, because guys, next weekend is the Melbourne Grand Prix and the first race of the season, and I'm kicking myself. I'm so excited. I am going this year. I am not going for race day. I'm going for qualifying on Saturday. That's the only day I could get tickets to. Last year I got general admission. The year before I got grandstand tickets. So I've been going every year that it's been happening since 2019. 2020 didn't happen, obviously. Or maybe it was 2021. I can't remember. But every year that it's been running, Callum and I have gone. Last year was my first year going without Callum, which was really sad. I went with my best friend, so it was fine. But this year I am planning to go by myself on qualifying. I have friends who will be there, so I'm going to go meet up with them anyway. But I am so excited. I'm so excited for the season to start. It is going to be a really interesting season. It's Lewis's first season with Ferrari, which is insane. I still cannot believe that. And so I think this weekend, because it's the first race of the season, it's Lewis's first race at Ferrari, it's going to be hectic. It's going to be people everywhere. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I've only got general admission this year, so I just have to find somewhere to sit. Fight for my spot to see qualifying. And also Formula 2, I think, and the supercars, they have their races on quali day. Also got a bunch of rookies. It's Oscar's home race next weekend, so that's always really crazy when there's an Aussie in the race. It just, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love the atmosphere at the F1. Usually every year we go to the Melbourne Walk, which is basically where you can go and meet the drivers. I'll put some videos and photos up here actually of times in the past where I've met drivers and got videos and pictures of drivers. Basically you have to get there first thing in the morning to get your spot in line. Last year I was in the first section of the line where there's still the barricades, and I was on TV with my friends, which was really funny. But as soon as the gates open, you have to run. You have to sprint to get to the barrier. And it's every man for themselves. I've seen people absolutely stack it and have grazes and cuts and bruises and still get up and keep running for a chance to go meet the drivers, which is totally fair. You get signatures, you get to see all the interviews and everything along the Melbourne Walk. So yeah, it's a bit intense and I will not be doing it this year. I didn't get anything signed last year actually. Actually, no, I lie, I did. I will show you what I've got signed in the past. So this was 2023. It's my 2023 hat that I bought specifically for signatures. Callum has more signatures on his hat. He has a Mercedes hat that's signed by Lewis and I think also George and a couple other people. But yes, this is Lando. Can't remember who that was. Nick DeVries before he got kicked out. Yuki Tsunoda. Actually can't remember who the others are. But yeah, got a couple signatures on that one, which is dope. I got a McLaren hat last year, specifically for signatures. Neither Lando or Oscar signed them, which was really, really sad. But I got a signature from team principal, Zach Brown. So that's pretty cool. And I obviously will be wearing this one this year as well. This is my pride and joy, this hat. I think if my friends, because they have grandstand tickets for the whole weekend. So if they are going to do the Melbourne walk at some point, I'm going to give them this hat and see if they can get it signed for me. So yes, anyway, that's the Formula 1 update. I am so excited for next weekend. It's going to be awesome. I think I am going to vlog next week, so I will do a day at the Formula 1 vlog for you guys. I won't be meeting drivers. I won't be running for the Melbourne walk. I'm so sorry. That would be very cool content and I would love to share that with you guys, but you'll have to deal with images of the past that I have shared with you. But yes, I'm very, very excited. Let me know which team or driver you are supporting this year. I am a team person. I support McLaren as a team. I support Oscar as a driver. I just have to because I'm Australian. And I think he is actually my favourite driver. And I will support him as a driver if he goes anywhere else. But I like McLaren as a team. So I would have loved to knit up Laura Penrose's most recent pattern, the Russell scarf, which is releasing in a couple days when you see this, I think. I would have loved to do that in McLaren colours. That would have been awesome, like to have my hat and then also an orange and black or orange and blue, I should say papaya and blue scarf. That would have been awesome, but I just don't have the time to knit that up and I don't have the yarn for it. So, and it's actually going to be quite hot. Most years when I've got there early for the Melbourne walk, it's been freezing in the morning, so I've had to pack layers. Like I think a couple of years ago we had to wear beanies and like a puffer jacket, but it does warm up during the day. But this year it's going to be mid-30s, I think, for the whole weekend, which is awesome because usually it's quite chilly. I think that's everything. That's everything I want to share. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it was a lot. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of knitting or crafting done whilst you were watching. Maybe you were doing some housework or something. I'm not sure, but whatever it was, I hope you got a lot done. And I hope I managed to keep you company in some way. As always, subscribe if you haven't already, and like this video if you enjoyed it. That's it. I hope you're safe and well wherever you are, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye for now.